it's your perfect excuse to cancel plans. Those plans that you made that you don't want to keep anymore. Okay, well, thanks to our virtual view technology, I'm standing in New York's Central Park without my poncho. I would definitely have a poncho if I was here this morning. Not going to be the best day for a stroll in the park or an outdoor lunch. Storms are rolling in, bringing the risk of strong winds, heavy rain. Central Park is actually running more than 2 inches below average for rain this year. So we'll take it. We just don't want the storminess coming along with it, but got to take all of it, sadly, with this. You can see the lightning and thunder moving through currently NYC. You guys have those thunderstorms moving through. So this is a line of storms. If you're waiting to leave, I'd say just wait this out a couple more minutes. It's going to push through, eventually pushing out onto Long Island and then moving out of the city as well. Let's time it out for you. You can see a little bit of maybe lingering light rain, but I really think that once that main line pushes through, you're going to start to see things drying out, at least for a bit, and then you'll have that chance for few showers, maybe a storm or two around, especially north of the city, Patterson, Yonkers, as we head into the evening hours. You can see Bridgeport, you've got another round of those storms moving in after dark. To Hartford, where you'll have this line of storms moving through during your morning commute, maybe give yourself a little bit of extra time. A couple different rounds of rain sticking around as we head into the late morning hours too. At times this is going to be heavy rain, and then look what happens. As we head into the afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock, you're getting off of work in Springfield. Those storms are going to be around, and these are some of the storms we want to watch for some of that feistiness. Maybe some hail, maybe some damaging wind gusts. Watch how this congeals into that line and continues moving eastward toward the coast as we head overnight tonight. Now, Burlington, Montpelier, I know the last thing that you guys want is any more rain. We have some rain around this morning. The entire state of Vermont has a flood alert up, so still worrying about those flooding conditions. More rounds of heavy rain, that chance for some storms. This is the problem. We're seeing round and round of heavy rain, plenty of moisture around too, Reynolds. Hate to see this in the forecast for areas that have just been so wet, but that is going to be the case. And of course, those rivers, those creeks, those streams, they're not going down anytime soon.
Go from the northeast to the southeast. We're in
for that. Thanks so much, Jordan. Well, Bonfire is a great way to get together with friends and family for the weekend. So we want to take a look at your bonfire forecast presented by Hershey's S'mores. What better way than to spend your summer Friday evening enjoying the outdoors, enjoying some Hershey's S'mores as well. Let's head to La Crosse, Wisconsin, there on the beautiful Mississippi River. It is going to be fantastic this evening. Temperatures are going to be in the lower 80s before falling into the mid 70s. That sun goes down and you see those temperatures fall into the lower 70s. To central Oklahoma, still water. Will you be in the upper 70s throughout the evening? Perfect weather for a bonfire and some s'mores. To Morgantown, West Virginia, fantastic. Couldn't ask for better weather for a bonfire. Back to America's Morning Headquarters. It's Friday, July 21st. We've made it to the end of another work week, and we're seeing dew points go up. That might not be the news you want to hear, but at least it's Friday, right? Because the dew points going up means it's going to be sticky and unpleasant out there. But incoming storms, they're promising to bring a little relief from the heat. Behind them, we'll see drier and slightly more pleasant air for some cities, at least. So you just have to sweat it out a little bit longer. I kind of feel like whatever you've been dealing with all week, because some of us have had these elevated dew points anyways, at least it's Friday and you're dealing with an elevated dew point instead of back to Tuesday with an elevated dew point, Jordan, right? Doesn't everything feel just a little bit more bearable on Friday?
Well, and a lot of us are going to get a bit of a...
Also watching this really closely, we've got a line of potent storms that are making their way toward the eastern seaboard. Severe thunderstorm warning, but I want to get you straight to this tornado warning that we have in Delaware for Sussex County, the cities of Long Neck, Millsboro, and Ocean View. I want you to get in your safe spot. There's a lot of heavy rain with this as well, so you might not be able to see if there is an actual tornado, but we have a lot of lightning, heavy rain, and these storms are potent. You can see this tornado warning just north of Ocean City. Again, Ocean View, you're included in that. Putting on the velocity radar, you can see some indication of a little bit of rotation when we look at that. Thanks, Reynolds. Let's talk about it with our safe driving partner, Subaru. That possibility for some wet roads, for some severe storms, all of it is out there once again today. And not just that, but also maybe some localized flooding, as many of the same places that are seeing the rain are going to see more of it, or that have been seeing the rain are going to see more of it. A wet ride along 95 this morning from D.C. to Baltimore. A line of storms moving through Philly and New York as we head through the day as well. Very heavy rain at times. Those windshield wipers are going to be working overdrive. Up through the Hudson Valley, again, you're going to be seeing that rain sticking around. All that 87 corridor, you're going to be going slower. You're going to be keeping an eye on that localized localized flooding. In fact, flooding definitely a concern across the entire state of Vermont over into upstate New York. You can see our line of storms that's moving through currently. A very, very wet start to your morning in Philly and NYC. We're starting to see those storms push closer to the coast, though. Severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're heading out here, just give it a couple more minutes. Atlantic City, if you're getting ready to walk out your door this morning, head to work, tell them I told you. I'm late by a couple minutes because Felicia said wait a few minutes. There's a severe thunderstorm moving toward us. You could have some damaging wind gusts, maybe a bit of hail. Now, Atlantic City, you're not included in that currently, but Dennis, you're included in that. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch up until 8 a.m. for this area this morning, so those storms could be sticking around for a little while longer. That travel forecast includes that risk for severe storms, especially this afternoon. Again, the flash flooding possible. Some roads where we saw that terrible flooding could still be washed out. You're still going to have to know your route that you're taking. And then, of course, strong wind gusts that could make those high-profile vehicles have some issues, and if you're on two wheels. Look at this system right now moving through Oklahoma. You can see really strong winds. That's what that's looking like with that, Reynolds. We're going to keep a close eye on that.
Rough times there. We could see.
All right, we made it to Friday. Maybe your Friday is going to include a little bit of travel, or maybe it's going to include staying at home. Either one, regardless, you still need to know the weather and what's going to be impacting you. So let's talk about it. If you are traveling across the Northeast up through New England, you might be running into some rain and storms, and that's going to be on and off throughout the entire day. More rain moving just to the east of the Green Mountains. Absolutely not what we want to see across Vermont right now. That line of strong storms that moves through the Jersey Shore, pushing offshore now, but that risk for severe storms continuing today. We've got flash flood possibilities up and down the Hudson Valley for the entire state of Vermont, portions of New Hampshire as well, and really anywhere where you get some locally high flood or locally intense rain that could lead to some locally localized flooding. Jeez, man, it's Friday. Anyone else? Have you used all of your words for the entire week already? Philadelphia and New York, that possibility for storms again as we head into the evening. I am enthralled with this little system that we've got going on here. This little, I'm going to call it like a vortex that we've got moving across Wichita, Tulsa, taking aim here at western Missouri. At this point, you can see that little circulation we've got going in here in this little system of low pressure, and we've got some lightning and some very heavy rain and some severe thunderstorm warnings along with this. So let's take a look at a couple of those severe thunderstorm warnings. This one actually has that tornado possible threat tag on it, so you want to keep an eye on that in the cities of Eldon and Park Hill. That is until 7:45, and then another severe thunderstorm warning just north of that, and another one here just south of I-40 for the counties of Conway, Perry, and Pope until 7:45. So we're starting to see those severe storms pop in this area already, guys.
All right, Felicia.
Starting off your morning there, kind of indicative of all that moisture that you have hanging around. We've got these excessive heat warnings and heat advisories up and down that 75 corridor, across Alligator Alley, that excessive heat warning stretching into places like Miami and across North Florida as well. Now, a heat advisory for Miami, to get a heat advisory, you have to have a heat index of 105 or more for at least 2 hours. But to get an excessive heat warning, which is what we have, the National Weather Service has to expect a heat index of 110 degrees or more for at least 2 hours. This is the second excessive heat warning ever issued for Miami, so you guys are going to be sweating it out in South Florida.
You're home for the latest news in climate change and sustainability. I'm Jordan Steele.
And I'm Felicia Combs. Steph Abrams has the day off. I'm going to get straight into today's hot topics. So if invasive species cause issues with biodiversity, we have to get rid of them, right? You would think.
You would try to. I mean, we're trying to with the python in South Florida right now.
Oh, man.
It's hard.
Oh, yeah. Well, what if that species is a bunch of wild horses and they're being chased by helicopters and sometimes killed?
And then some say they are. There's a great book called Wild Horse Country for anybody who's interested in the history. But the thing is with this, you've got the wild, unless BLM's got the contract to do so, but you get have many predators. There's another argument. It could be, you know, the mountain lion, but they don't have a lot of predators. So they're just going to, they ruin the landscape. And by doing so, we've been using helicopters for decades. And, you know, I think the argument here is like, well, what if we just kind of manage?
One of the other things that I saw too was this was kind of during the time when they're also having babies. Like, I guess there's a specific season that they're usually having their babies. So maybe plan that timing better. I don't know. There has to be a better option, but I would assume they would have tried it if there was.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and this is obviously up for debate to figure out what a different method is. All right, story number 2 here. Earlier we talked about switching your home to green energy, right? But the fact is businesses need to make the switch as well, including the entertainment industry.
So cool. And I feel like this could solve so many other problems. Like, how many times do we talk about after hurricane season?
I was thinking the same thing.
You know, watch where you're putting your generator, the gas-powered generators, because it becomes dangerous. And we see people die every year from putting their generators inside or too close to their home. So I just wonder if this is a solution, if we should see more of these battery/solar-powered generators.
Right. I think we're going to see them a lot in our industry when we go bring power to some of the areas that lose it.
I think you're right. Well, how many batteries do you think you buy every year?
10.
10?
I wish.
I doubt that.
No.
With 3 kids, I'm sure you buy
Every
way
toy
more.
I have got like batteries in it. I'm like, golly.
Well, it turns out Americans buy about 3 billion with a B, and 96% of them end up in landfills. You can recycle them, but how easy is that really? And you know when you're starting to run out of batteries, because how many times have you been like, oh, I know I still have some batteries left in there, I'll just change it out, and then your remote doesn't have batteries for a week because you didn't actually have batteries in it.
And the reality of, like, you can't just put batteries in your normal curb recycle don't. And so you have to take them to a battery-specific recycling spot.
That's good to know.
And so that makes it always a little bit more difficult, too, because then you got to run an extra errand. And for this, you just mail it in, do your thing, mail it back.
And you feel good. You feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah. Here's, we still have more to cover this hour in Pattern. Everybody, so if you've been waiting to see the new Barbie movie, the day has finally arrived. This is why she's been dressed in like a pink reddish hue all week.
Yesterday I wore my pink and everyone was like, great red. And I'm like, oh, it's pink, but okay. Barbie isn't just a movie star though. Since 1959, she's held a wide range of careers, even running for president in 1992. And in her 64 years, she hasn't aged a bit, you go girl, but she's also seen a lot of changes in our planet.
Barbie loves the color pink. Hey, it is Friday, which means it is time for this week's Heroes and Zeros.
That's right. This week, Pattern climate science producer Allie Van Fleet highlights the people who are helping the planet and those who need to step up their game. Me too. When volume is too loud, I'm like, hey.